Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, I will appreciate if you can hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload new video. If you are returning, welcome. It's always great to have you here. Good morning, family. Welcome back again to my channel. Today we are prepping for the Sabbath day. We are getting ready for Sabbath, which is sundown on Friday till sundown on Saturday. So as I start my prepping, I always start my prepping from early morning on Friday. Immediately when I come back after taking the girls to school, I just go ahead and start with my prepping. So I'm gonna take the onions and chili and put into the pot, and then I will add some olive oil. Any oil that you use, it might be okay for you. I put the olive oil and then add some no cube, just mash it into the hands, and then I put it into the pot. And you know what, I just find it more easier if I mash the no cube before I put it into the pot. And you can add as much spices as you like, so I do go in very heavy with some spices. Anyway, so I put all the spices. I'll try to put everything on the description below so that you will have the full recipe in case you want to try it out. So I then cover it for a few minutes and let my onion fry for a little while, and just for a few minutes, actually not for too long. And then you open it, you will see that everything is looking so good and so delicious. And you can see that the onion is starting to kind of brown a little bit. Then I went ahead and add some tomato puree. You can add as much as you like it depending on how much food you are cooking. Okay, so here is just, I think I would say maybe about 2 tablespoons of the tomato puree, and then I will just turn it a little bit, and then I will cover it and allow it to cook for a few minutes. And once you feel like it's no longer sticky, and if you try to taste it, you'll see that it's not as kind of sour as it usually is, then you are gonna add the rest of your ingredients. So here I'm adding some meat. Now again, I boiled this meat on Thursday so that it will be ready for me to use it on Friday morning. So I now have the meat already boiled, because this is the meat that take longer to boil, so I just boil it a day before so that it will be ready for me to use. I add it into the tomato, and then I cover it for a few minutes and allow it to cook for just a few minutes again. And then I will open it and see how it is. Again, everything is looking so cool and so delicious. So we are gonna go ahead and continue with the cooking because everything is looking so good. And you know what, this meat, I think it also depends on the meat that you are cooking, because this particular meat was taking longer to cook, so that was why I boiled it a day before. Again, the cabbage, which is the main part of this dish. So today we are gonna have cabbage. I know my husband loves the cabbage, so he's gonna be excited for this one. And so I just chopped the cabbage a day before, and then now it's time for me to add it on the food. So I added my cabbage. So this Sabbath, I know Hubby will be so happy that I made cabbage. And you know what, I just love adding cabbage because it just doesn't take much time to make cabbage. No matter how you are trying to make the cabbage, it just doesn't take long time. So I thought, you know what, this Sabbath I'm just gonna share with you guys the prepping, and I will share how I make my cabbage. Again, there are so many different ways I make the cabbages, but this is the one I'm gonna share with you today. And then after that, I then added mushroom. I know I lost the clip when I was putting them, so I just have to show you that I also added some mushrooms, and I just kind of like, you know, everything in one pot. Everything was looking so yummy and so delicious. Again, this is the type of meal that you can have before Sabbath, which that's Friday, and we will have it for dinner before sundown, and then we would have it as well even on Saturday. So I always try to cook either something that it is easy to also eat on Sabbath day, even when it's cold, or I also will make something like also salads, which I'm not going to include them on this video, but I always make maybe 2 or 3 salads that we are able to eat them on Saturday, because on Saturday we do not do any cooking, we do not use microwave, we do not use anything that has to do with cooking on Sabbath day. Now my cabbage is almost done. Look at it, it is looking so delicious, and this is my cabbage now almost done. Basically everything has gone into this cabbage, which this is our dinner for Sabbath day, and also just before Sabbath day as well. So we are gonna have it on Friday, and we will also have it on Sabbath day on Saturday. Okay, so it just depends if whatever you feel like eating. Sometimes we will just add it into a wrap. We'll put the cabbage into the wrap as well with other salads. Sometimes you might just feel like it's okay for you to eat maybe cold rice with this, and just whatever. So I always just try to make sure that there is something that is available for someone to eat on Saturday. But again, there's always food that is okay for me to warm it on Saturday sundown, for us to have also a hot meal once it is sundown. Okay, so that is my meal done. So while that it is cooking on the fire, I went ahead and start with my unleavened bread. When it comes to unleavened bread, I probably won't be sharing this one that much, or maybe if I do share unleavened bread with you, it will be just only me sharing just only unleavened bread, because normally when I'm making the unleavened bread, I'm always in a rush. Okay, it's usually one of the things that I always just, every time when I'm making it, I'm always just like, let me just get it done and put it aside. That's because it has to be cooked, it has to be done on the oven, and I do have this thing of forgetting when I put something inside the oven. I don't know why. So I always have to put just only the unleavened bread on the oven, and then just pay attention to it on its own, so that I do not forget. So that is why I always try to make sure that I just do it and get know that I'm done with unleavened bread. So I never really have the time that I have to record making unleavened bread, but luckily, yes, we did record unleavened bread this time. So I added butter. I will put all the measurements on the description below. So I put butter, I put sugar, and I also put some vanilla, and then I just use my mixer and mix everything together. And I think I also added some lemon zest as well. I just added a little bit so that it will have more taste. So the unleavened bread, I always try to keep it very simple, just so that I don't make things complicated. I always, every Sabbath, I always make 2 unleavened bread, and I always try to make sure I keep them very simple. But maybe during the week, sometimes I will share with you some of my recipe of my unleavened bread, very simple ones. I always try to keep it very simple. Now, I did struggle when I first started making unleavened bread. I did struggle on making just a simple unleavened bread, and so I did just tell myself that, and anytime I do have extra time, I will share how to make just a very simple unleavened bread, because I know there's so many online, but the thing is, they always use different things that I didn't have. Like, I just didn't have. I was looking for just a simple unleavened bread that I don't have to use any machine or anything to mix, just a simple unleavened bread, unleavened cake, I mean, not unleavened bread. Well, it's still unleavened bread, but I make this one as a cake. So here, because my kids would have it as well, so they just love this. It's not, we make it just to, I would have it a slice of the unleavened bread with my cup of coffee or my cup of tea. So I make 2 of them every Saturday because my kids love mommy's unleavened cake, so I always make sure that I make it for them. So but I do make other cakes as well. So maybe when I'm making I'm doing the prepping for Sabbath, sometimes I will share with you some other cakes as well. So while the egg is in the oven, the cake is in the oven, I went ahead and just boiled rice. Remember that cabbage is you can eat it with anything. You can have it with the rice. I always prefer it with the rice, but Hubi always prefer it with pounded yam or with gari, but I prefer it with the rice. So I boil rice, I'm sure everyone knows how to boil rice, so I just check the rice to make sure that the rice is clean, and then I just wash it and put water and it goes into the fire, and that is just the rice done. And then after that you wash the rice and then put it back into the cooker. Here is my unleavened cake, looking so delicious. So I did put some lemon zest on the top, so that will be the dark spots that you see on the top. I just kind of like grated a little bit of the lemon zest on the top, and then I also did the other one just plain. And again, I repeat, all I have on this cake is just flour. I made sure I sieve the flour, so I have just a flour, a butter, and eggs. That is all. Oh, and vanilla. So that is all I have on this cake. So every Sabbath I always make sure that I make 2 cakes because my kids love eating the unleavened cake. And so this is my cabbage done. So I'm kind of like almost finished with the cooking, and I am hoping that you enjoyed this video. And once I'm done with everything, I usually go ahead and make myself a cup of coffee just before the sundown. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna go ahead and slice my unleavened cake, which you can see is looking so delicious. And then once I'm done slicing the unleavened cake, I will go ahead and make myself a cup of coffee so I can sit down for a few minutes and of course and drink my coffee before sundown. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos that are about to come. Thank you so much for watching, family. I'll see you again on my next one. Shalom. Most High Christ blessed.